Hey, everybody, welcome to the 20M podcast, a very special episode of the 20M podcast, not your usual podcast. For those that are listening, Reno and I wanted to post-react to the Nintendo Direct that was last night. But before we get to that, Reno, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you, Arief?
I'm doing really good. I just came back last night from the Final Fantasy 16 launch event here in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. So I know
Not
that's
jealous.
very exciting. But no, let's not talk about Final Fantasy right now. We'll be talking about Final Fantasy in an upcoming episode. I want to talk about the Nintendo Direct. Reno, tell me a little bit about your thoughts before the Direct, before we get to some of our favorite games here.
I think when everyone saw the announcement drop that the Direct was happening literally the 21st of June, like what was it, like an hour after, or maybe even at this exact same moment that Final Fantasy 16 was being released. I know we're not talking about Final Fantasy in this episode, but I was just like, wow, that energy from Nintendo. Well done, well done.
You think like Nintendo got FOMO? It's like Xbox had a pretty good showcase with Starfield and everything, and then PlayStation is like all marketing, pumping the juice for Final Fantasy 16. It's like we're gonna drop some crazy Mario announcements just to remind you all who the grandfather of video games really are. You know what I mean?
There is like no way they couldn't have realized, right? In the content calendar or schedule of events, you think they didn't realize that like what day it was? It's like it was definitely planned. And I think it worked out. I think it worked out well for a lot of people. I did see a lot of people stream it kind of like back to back. Like I saw people playing Final Fantasy 16's demo and then co-stream the Nintendo Direct. So I feel like it kind of worked out well for them.
Exactly. Forget about Ifrit and remember about good old Bowser, everybody. It's funny because never mind, we're not going to get into that. Anyway, what we're going to be doing today is we're just going to be running through some of our most exciting announcements from the Nintendo Direct last night, and providing some thoughts on the game. Reno, where shall we start this conversation?
I think we should start off strong with a little title called Pokemon. There were a couple of Pokemon drops last night. Let's check it out.
Yeah, the show started with Pokemon. I think the first thing that I wanted to mention about Pokemon was that I'm actually really shocked that they showed Pokemon at the Nintendo Direct, because I was talking to fellow content creator here in Malaysia, Najmi, last night, and he was like, "Oh, they might announce a new Pokemon." I'm like, "There's no way." Mostly because they save that for Pokemon Directs, Pokemon Celebration,
Pokemon only.
Yeah, as opposed to stuff. So I'm surprised actually we got not only the announcement for release date, I should say, for the DLC, because we've seen the DLC before, but also Detective Pikachu. This is kind of like a crazy thing to have Pokemon here. Do Scarlet and Violet? Does that get you going? Does Detective Pikachu get you going?
I think with Scarlet and Violet, I more know that particular Pokemon era as like the meme era, because we all saw like the early stage games before it was patched, like how unhinged like some of the exploration was. But I'm excited to see. I'm more excited to see Detective Pikachu. Although I was very surprised, or maybe I shouldn't have been surprised, that it wasn't voiced by Ryan Reynolds in the game.
Ryan Reynolds or bust,
Yeah, exactly. He is the only one who should be Detective Pikachu in my mind, anyway. But the whoever is doing this voice is perfectly fine. Definitely has that chain smoker Pikachu voice going for him, I guess.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I know the behind the scenes of this game, like it's been rumored that they've just been sitting on this, like development for this game has been done for a long time, but they've just been sitting on it. But also some people speculated that it got canceled, part due to like the poor performance of Detective Pikachu the movie and just the overall lack of excitement for the property.
Did the movie do badly? I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's a reason why we're not getting a sequel, right? Like
that's because Ryan Reynolds didn't want to.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds like, I'm gonna go back to Deadpool. I'm good with Pikachu. Bring Danny DeVito, you know what I mean, as the voice of Pikachu. Yeah, but no, overall, I mean, it's exciting. I've never played Detective Pikachu before, but I know some people really love this property. So it's good to see it on the Switch, at least, because I think the only other time you could play it is on the 3DS, the previous one.
Yeah, exactly. I do like that the selling point is like solve mysteries with a talkative Pikachu. It's like really emphasizing that he talks, guys. He talks. Like, I think that's really cool. So
my favorite thing is just getting coffee, like solely thinking about what coffee brew to get next or something. Under caffeinated Detective Pikachu is my favorite.
What kind of coffee would Pikachu be drinking?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Like a latte. He seems like a latte guy.
Yeah, I like a Piccolo kind of guy, or Cortada. Detective Pikachu's a
Yeah,
Cortada kind of guy.
because he's tiny.
Yeah, maybe. We're moving on. We're moving on.
All right, what's
What else
next on your
excited you?
list? Uh,
Uh,
I think Mario fans got quite. Mario fans ate well yesterday. There were a lot
oh my
of Mario
god.
related announcements, and just back to back. Every character got a game. It felt like.
Yeah. Oh my god. I want to just like. I mean, let's start. Let's start strong, right? Let's talk about Super Mario RPG. What a crazy announcement! I know I saw that. Not that I was spoiled for me because I wasn't at home watching the direct, but when I saw that pop up on Twitter, it was like the first tweet I saw it, and then I would look around at the Final Fantasy event that I was at, and then somebody would come up to me and it's like, "Hey, Super Mario RPG, huh?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, yeah, I know." So it's kind of just like everybody's really excited about Super Mario RPG. I will say I only played it. I never finished it. I only played it. I started it up about a year or two ago via the Super Nintendo, the SNES Classic system. But I mean, this is where Gino, fan favorite of Nintendo fanboys, Gino gets his premiere, like his only game. But also, this is an interesting one because it's a collaboration with Square Enix. Like, it's one of the early collaborations between Nintendo and Square, and it's you're thinking about it now. It's so weird that it's for a Mario property, but this is like a proper RPG for those that haven't played it. Like, so you're taking all the Square learnings and mechanics of that age and obviously applying it to a Mario game. So I had a lot of fun during my playthrough of it a couple years ago. Have you had
Do
the
you think you'll
experience of
pick
the
this
Super Mario
one?
RPG?
No, I haven't. So when the announcement dropped and I saw everyone lose their minds, I was just sitting there being like, "Oh, okay, this looks cool." No, I have no experience with this, but it did look really interesting. I don't know if we're gonna play some of the footage as we're talking about it, but I do think it will be quite an interesting game. I like the opening where everyone was like, "Oh, it's Peach," and then suddenly she kind of gets like transformed into like
Yeah.
that Peach. That was
I
really
mean, you
cool.
hear the music, you see the art style. It's like there's no way it's a RPG, right? And then they do it. But I think it's beautiful because the gameplay and the camera work is almost exactly like the original game, but obviously it's up-res and retextured. It's similar to Link's Awakening, where they put that like bubblegummy toy style art style on that Game Boy game. But my biggest surprise, especially seeing it after it was announced, is that Yoko Shimomura, composer of many, many, many games, like famed Square Enix composer, which I know best from Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy 15. I remember she did a lot of Street Fighter back in the day as well. One of the best composers in the industry is coming back to do the newer arrangements for Super Mario RPG, which is extremely exciting to me. Like, again, it's just a beautiful kind of like, it's not just a simple remaster to me. It's like it seems like they're putting a lot of care into this property, which is such a shock. But oh my god, am I excited!
I think now that we're seeing like the battle scenes, like you can really see the Square Enix sort of inspiration, or like the certain inspiration, like their hand in the game. It is very much like a Final Fantasy, but like chibi style, so to speak. It looks good.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the other games, which is a surprise. I mean, you get Luigi's Mansion that's coming back. That's coming to the Switch. The Luigi's Mansion game for the 3DS is coming. I'm not a big Luigi guy. Are you?
I played it quite a bit at an arcade in Japan. Like with the you get the vacuum cleaner and everything like that.
No
That's how it should be
way.
played, right? Yes,
No
yeah.
way.
Oh, and my family came to visit. My brother and I just were like, "This is the coolest thing ever." So that's my little experience with it. I'm like, really cool game. Would recommend. Cue
Yeah.
all the mom jokes being like, if you're gonna play with a vacuum cleaner, why don't you just vacuum the house? Because my mom
Yeah.
definitely dropped that one. But I'm excited for this Peach game. I've never played a Princess Peach game before, and I know this isn't the first one with her as the headlining character, but this
Is
looks
it? I don't know.
amazing. I don't think it is. I think there has been a Princess Peach game in the past.
Mhm.
This kind of looks like, I don't know, like action adventure Cinderella. It's kind of
Yeah.
like how it feels.
I mean, if you want to talk about like Nintendo properties as a whole, right, and how they're trying to just kind of maybe make a bigger deal out of the Mario property, is that you have Luigi's Mansion, which is a Luigi-based game, and then obviously historically you have Yoshi's Island, and then you also have Yoshi's Woolly World in the new era of Nintendo. But now I guess like, hey, let's also focus on Peach, right, as a character. So this whole like, hey, you can expand on individual games within the Mario characters, I think is really cool to me. But I'm excited for this game too. Like the mechanics of her changing the outfits, I have no idea what it's supposed to imply or whatever have you, but it just looks so good. Like I love Nintendo art style so much.
I kind of wish they gave her pants. Like, do you remember Bo Peep in one of the Toy Stories when she became badass and she got given
Absolutely.
pants? Yeah, yeah. She gives me the same vibe. I'm like, maybe you should
Absolutely.
get more outfit changes. It'll be like a Final Fantasy X2.
We had to bring the square back in, you know.
Had to.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing that was Mario related, whilst we're on this Mario segment, was they ended the show with Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Is that right?
Yeah, Super
Which
Mario
is their
Bros. Wonder.
first 2D Mario in about 10 years, if I'm not mistaken. And this is super interesting because like the 2D Marios apparently sell like hotcakes. Like it's insane how much they sell and how successful they are. But I'm really glad they're bringing a 2D Mario back because I have some really fond memories of doing multiplayer with 2D Mario games, and they're the most chaotic like game sessions that I've ever had with friends. But what did you think of this one?
I like the 2D style. I don't know if that's just me showing off my boomerness somewhere, but I really like it. It just feels like an enhanced version of what I remember my first Mario interaction to be like, just like Super Mario Brothers as it is, like going through the level, just like focusing on just like, I guess, like minor details, like, okay, if you just bounce at this particular angle, you'll get that gold coin and then you can keep progressing. Like just little things like that, as opposed to, I think I tend to get a bit lost with the 3D elements of it, or I get bored, but I think I would actually play this one. And
Yeah,
I can
this
say
has
that
also
because I
got
got my
like a.
Switch.
That's funny. Yeah, you can play all these now. To me it's the color palette, like the art style and the color palette. Like
So
they've been very
vibrant.
experimentative lately. Yeah, there's a vibrancy. It's almost like the characters are 2D, 3D, if you will. Rather, the last one it was almost fully 3D looking, but in a 2D plane. Um, it's almost got like that comic booky kind of like exaggerated
Yes.
manga kind of like feel to it, but with the color palette of something that's like so new wave.
Is there some kind
So
of rhythm element to it though? Because you can see when you collect stuff that's like good, great, excellent. I don't know if that's alluding to some other mechanic. That's definitely not in the normal Super Mario Brothers franchise.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That'd be something to look out for.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
cool
mean
stuff.
Mario turning into an elephant. Let's do it. He's already turned into Raccoon Mario, Tanuki Mario. Let's.
I've seen little elephant buddy like all over my timeline today. It's just like everyone's like, we want to protect him at all costs.
Yeah, I mean I'm excited. My biggest prediction for the show would have been a new Mario because we don't know what. If I'm not mistaken, we don't know what the Odyssey team is working on. But I'm just excited that we're bringing Mario back. Post the movie, a lot of these games are probably going to make so much money as well. So I'm so excited for 2D Mario.
Very cool, very cool. And then I guess there was one other Mario property that we were going to talk about as well, WarioWare.
Oh my god,
Which is a
yes. Oh
mouthful
my
to say,
god, of course, I forgot.
WarioWare.
Yeah, I've never been a big WarioWare guy, but I know it's
I
historically wacky and just the weirdest stuff ever, and this one is no exception.
I love unhinged games. I played WarioWare on the DS. I'm not sure which one it was, or if there was only one. But yeah, just these games where you're utilizing random features. Like on the DS, it would be like with the what do you call the pencil?
The stylus.
The stylus, yeah, just like using a stylus in a way you never thought you'd be using. And then now you've got it on the Switch where you've got your two Joy Cons and you're going to be doing things like scrubbing your back, cutting bamboo. It's just weird, and I love it. It's a fun party game, I think.
I'm gonna be super honest with you and the rest of the 20M community, and y'all have to keep the secret. But I've always been afraid of WarioWare. As in, like some of the art styles and some of the concepts are so weird and outlandish to me that it like genuinely scares me. So they've always scared me as a kid because they're so wacky and out there. But I don't know. I'm kind of excited for this one because I miss the Mario Party. It's like Mario Party but hyper unhinged, right?
Yeah,
so I kind of just want to
lovely.
sit down with some friends, like spend a night just doing some really weird, wacky mini games.
I wonder who the team is for WarioWare, or is it just like everyone who's like burnt out and needs an outlet for their crazy ideas? Like just throw it into WarioWare. That's
It's like an all-star development team, just like
yeah,
they spend 2 hours developing a concept and it's like, okay, go push it out, put that as a mini game.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it looks good, and it is weird how like the art style, like everything is just like not like they're not similar at all. They're all just different things.
Yeah, yeah. The lack of consistency freaks me out, I guess. Like, that's what I'm trying to
That
say.
freaks you out.
Yeah. What else was at the show that was exciting for you?
I thought Dragon Quest looked really cool as someone who has never played a Dragon Quest. But I think, again, just one of those, we've talked about this before, I think, with Yakuza, like familiarity with IP, just seeing it constantly, even though you've not experienced the game, just kind of makes you like, oh, it's a great one. It's a new one coming out. And I think it talks about like something, it's called Dragon Quest Monsters, right? And I think it talks about combining monsters or merging them or something. And I know this is not unique to the Monster Rancher franchise, but it just made me think of that. But I guess it's also kind of similar to like how you do that with your personas as well. And
Yeah.
that part kind of interests me. Yeah, there you go. Combining monsters.
Yeah, I agree. It did seem very Persona, especially in the way that they set it up visually. But I've never been a Dragon Quest guy, and I know the music. Like, I know everybody knows the music at this point. I use the character in Smash Bros. This one didn't really do it for me. Like, this isn't going to make me jump into I was going to say Monster Hunter, a Dragon Quest game, but I'm actually quite confused. I mean, like, obviously there's a bit of nostalgia with the character designs, right? But I guess like you're playing the evil side of things, and then you see the hero pop up at the end of the trailer of
Oh, yeah,
one
good
of the
point.
Dragon Quest 3. No, 3 is the pirate, right? There's 2. Somebody will
I
correct
just
me in the
keep
20
thinking
M
they're
community.
extensions of Dragon Ball because of the art style, even though
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
it's just alternate universe Dragon Ball.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, but excited. The other one that I was a little bit like lukewarm on was Pikmin 4, where
Oh,
Pikmin
shots
4 is
fired.
positioned. Yeah, but I think it's one of those Nintendo properties I never grew up with and I never really was into. I know Pikmin from Smash Bros, right? And Olimar from Smash Bros and things like that. But after seeing this trailer, it also didn't really like convince me that this Pikmin is going to be the entry to the franchise for me. The one thing that I will say on the positive side, though, is that the art looks amazing. It's almost got like a hyper realistic yet cartoony kind of art style, and we've already seen it in previous trailers. But seeing even more of the gameplay and you walking around this world is like, it almost gives that energy of like, wow, how is this a game? Because of the creativity mixed with the art style. But I don't know. It's never been my like Nintendo property to champion. But I know some people are excited for. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know anybody in my group of friends who is excited for Pikmin. But it
I
seems like
want
there
to
are people out there on
know,
the internet.
what is Pikmin? Like, what is he? Is he a forest sprite? Is he a
There is
leaf?
lore, right? They're aliens.
They're aliens.
There's something. There is Pikmin lore that I'm just like deeply unaware of.
Yeah, I'm not someone who's familiar with them either. But it's like there are so many iconic IPs nowadays, and you can't be like a fan of every one of them. But just to see people get excited over something that they're really passionate about is what drives me as well. So yeah, I'm happy for the folks who are excited for Pikmin 4 to come out. It looks the art style. I don't know. Reminds me of like. Do you remember A Bug's Life?
Yeah,
I think that is Disney,
yeah.
like a
Pixar.
forgotten Disney, like Pixar, like a forgotten one, right? It kind of reminds me of that. I think maybe probably just a setting of it being like small creatures climbing around in
Yeah,
like dirt and flowers, but it did remind me a lot of A Bug's Life.
yeah. I totally agree. I think that's why it's like the grand scale of things, but you're kind of like very very small in miniature. It looks
Yeah,
fun. It looks interesting. Like I said, it looks really creative. But I
yeah.
don't know. We'll see. We'll see if I pick it up.
Look at how little Pikmin guys go.
Go Pikmin, dudes. Yeah. Well, one thing that I was excited about, though, on the opposite side of things, where I was like, wow, that completely caught me off guard, was Star Ocean. Are you familiar with the Star Ocean franchise at all?
I am not. Are you going to educate me?
No, not at all, because I'm not whatsoever. Like, I'm so not a Star Ocean dude. But Star Ocean, the second story R, I believe, it just looks gorgeous.
The
When
art
I
is
was watching the
amazing.
direct, yeah, it's almost taking from the Octopath art style, where it's like a very very beautiful looking kind of sprite animation world. In almost like some parts are more real, some parts are sprite work, but also just the character design itself. When you see some of the characters pop up in dialogue moments.
Yeah, the
Uh,
portraits are beautiful.
yeah, the portraits. Yeah,
Really, really beautiful.
yeah. So
I'm
this is
I'm a
one
sucker
that
for
caught me
that.
off guard. Exactly. And then gameplay too, it just like it looks like it is fun. Like it just looks like an objectively fun RPG. So like I said, I have no idea anything about the story about Star Ocean. I know it by name. But on the complete end of the spectrum, like what Pikmin didn't do for me, this is doing for me. Where it's like, I
It
think
looks
I'll
like
pick this
a
up. Like this looks amazing.
action RPG. It's not turn-based, or it could be turn-based. It's hard to tell from the footage here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really pretty.
But like, I think for me, it's like as Square keeps experimenting with this art style, I know we've got Octopath, we got Triangle Strategy,
Triangle Strategy.
and then obviously, with thinking about the rumored Final Fantasy Tactics, like I'm really interested to see where this 2D, 3D kind of like aesthetic goes, because I think post Octopath 1, they've really got something special in their hands. So I love that they're continuing to experiment with this category of art style. It just seems perfect for nostalgia, yet very, very modern,
I think the whole question about nostalgia and how it works in games and how to still stay relevant is such an interesting topic I'd love to explore at some point with you, Arif.
Absolutely. Speaking of nostalgia,
there's
one more thing I wanted to bring up that this one completely caught me off guard, but it's the Metal Gear Collection, the Metal Gear Solid Collection, Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1, to be accurate, that is coming to the Switch. And boy, let me tell you, Reno, finally I can play a Metal Gear game. You know what I mean? Like you know how big of a Metal Gear fan I am.
Right
you know how big of a Kojima fan I am. No, the joke is to let everybody in on the joke. Like I wear a lot of Kojima merch, but I've never played a Kojima game in my life before. So this is finally the opportunity where I was going to get a Steam Deck or like a ROG Ally to play Metal Gear. But now this is a perfect opportunity. It's coming to Switch. Metal Gear 1, 2, 3 plus all these other stuff.
They made it just for you. Just for you. Yep.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited. I mean, like, do you have any motivation to explore the Metal Gear franchise?
Absolutely not. Happy for you, so happy for you, but absolutely not.
I need to know who Solid Snake is versus Big Boss versus Liquid Snake. Like I don't know what the story is.
I am just not really. What is this genre? Like war games? What do you like?
That's so generic.
I mean, like
tactical spy,
spy, yeah,
narrative. Like, I don't like war.
I don't. As soon as I see like army fatigues, I'm out, man. This is not the game for me. But happy for you. I mean, if it's on the Switch, maybe. I got the Switch. Just gotta let you know again.
But I kind of agree. I feel like that style and that aesthetic for me has always kind of turned me off, which is why I've never been like a huge Call of Duty person. I've never
exactly been, like, that was what I was going to say.
Yeah, there's just something a little bit about like I don't know, military complex and glorifying that I never vibed with. Yet if it's in space and if it's sci-fi, even though conceptually it's the exact same thing, it's just like, oh, that's so much cooler,
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of hypocrisy there, but I agree. It's kind of like you think of it as like kind of an alpha dude, kind of people who would champion that kind of stuff. But I am just really excited to experience the narrative of Metal Gear for the first time myself.
Excited for you. Excited to hear your thoughts in the future episode once you get into that.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you have anything else you wanted to talk about in the Nintendo Direct or thoughts on the Nintendo Direct as a whole?
I think overall we covered a lot of the big titles. I would be curious to kind of go back and rewatch and check out some of these smaller games, like the one you got here with the birds, this bird rhythm game. I, as a new member of the Nintendo Switch community, I'm sure folks have heard on the previous episode. I only got my Switch like 2 weeks ago for a very specific game, but I'm excited to explore more of these titles because it was something that I missed. I started my gaming on a Game Boy back when I was a kid, but then just missed out on like 10 years of 3DS, DS Lite sort of era games, and now I'm excited to kind of come back into that. They just seem really fun, like so far, like fun, low stakes kind of games to chill out to. I say that just when you're like, oh, I'm going to play Metal Gear Solid or Batman Arkham Asylum. But for the most part, these games are just, I don't know if it's like deceptively, but the design just feels really cute and warm and fuzzy.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I love conceptually, as we talk about the Nintendo Direct as a whole, you can have things like Pokemon and your big hitters like the Mario games, but you can also get a couple smaller experiences or games that I think are perfect for the Switch, like Persona 5 Tactica as well. Like to me, that is such a Switch like handheld type game. So I love even talking about like we got DLC updates for Mario and Rabbids and Splatoon. obviously with Splatfest. So just the concept and the structure of Nintendo Direct, it still works. I think overall, I don't know if this was like the most exciting Nintendo Direct, but if only I wasn't spoiled early by Super Mario RPG, maybe my tone would have been completely different. But again, I love what Nintendo is doing here, where you get excited for the things that are worthy to get excited about, but also there's some games here that might excite you, or are just there for the Switch for at any time you want to get them. So I really like it.
Yeah, lots of big titles here that they announced, DLCs and new games, and lots of smaller ones as well, which we didn't cover. But I encourage everyone to check out the Direct and see if there's something that suits your palette. There's lots of games for everyone.
Exactly. And with that, everybody, we'll close out the episode here. Thanks for listening to this special segment of the 20M podcast. Reno and I decided to do this because we didn't have the opportunity to live react to the Nintendo Direct, but we had a lot of thoughts on some of these games. So let us know, what are some of your most anticipated titles from the Nintendo Direct? Or the better question for me is, what is missing? Where's Metroid Prime 4? Where's the new 3D Mario? What about DLC for Tears of the Kingdom? Where are these things? It just leaves the door open for a lot of stuff in future directs, which is what makes
it controversial for me to ask, what happened to Cooking Mama?
Yes. Cooking Mama's mining Bitcoin in the back or something. No more Bitcoin. So, # save Cooking Mama. If y'all want to check out more episodes of the 20M podcast, you can check out our previous episode right here, where we talk about a bevy of things, including Katamari, and answering the question, is 2023 the best year in video games?
Check it out. Thanks, everyone. Catch you in the next episode.